This is TWiT. Welcome. It's great. It's really great to have you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Obviously, it's been we got a lot to dig into. This has been a big year, needless to say, as I guess every year is. But I'm really happy to have the chance to be here. So thanks for sneaking me in for a little bit today.
Yeah, you bet.
Now, we wanted you to start, like you always do lately, and talk about what you call hidden gems. Because we always get a few of these where you're like, these are things that didn't get as much press or a notice maybe, but we think they were a big deal.
Yeah, great. I'd love to do the hidden gems. And I'm going to try to keep it as tight as I can. I'm going to do 4 hidden gems, and I'm going to time myself and try to do them in 6 minutes.
Ooh,
and I picked them very carefully because I thought they would give you things to think about and perhaps talk about. So hopefully you'll enjoy them. And of course, hopefully your listeners will enjoy them. The first one is something we've been working on for 3 years and finally reached the world. And it's not a product, but on Monday of this week, my first hidden gem is this Xbox Power On, the story of Xbox sort of docu-series.
Oh, you ruined my tip.
I did? Oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Well, we've been funding this work for 3 years. Tina Summerford has done just a stunning job. This is like a 4.5 hour series. You can get it on YouTube or IMDb TV, Roku, Microsoft Movies.
It is
TV.
fantastic, by the way.
Oh my gosh, she did the whole team did a stunning job. And the reason I pick it is because I think gamers will love it, but even if you don't love gaming, I did like how the team told a lot of the Microsoft mistakes. I mean, it does.
I'm really glad you said this because when I was going to use this as my tip, and what I was going to say was, Mary Jo, I know you're not into gaming, but given your knowledge of the history of Microsoft, you have to watch this documentary. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Cool.
And just watch the first episode, and if you don't say, "Oh my gosh, I want to watch the rest of it," I think you will.
Yeah.
And the team was very clear. Hey, if we make this, we're going to tell the whole story, and we're going to, there are going to be some warts that the world sees, and so I picked that one as that's hidden gem number one. Cool. Okay, should we move on to number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, hidden gem number 2, and you're gonna think I'm crazy for picking this one because it's not particularly, but it goes nicely with the Xbox One. It's not that sort of glamorous.
If you want to keep them all Xbox focused, that'd be great. So.
I got a couple in there. The second one, which is a little bit more on a serious note, is the Microsoft Store policy changes we made. Happened. A bunch of them happened this year. And before the policy changes, we published a bunch of App Store principles back in October 2020. And we invited Android and sort of iOS to embrace them. And we said Windows, of course, needs to embrace them. These are the 3 big App Store ecosystems. Yeah. And we basically published a bunch of principles around fairness and innovation and greater opportunity, economic opportunity for developers. Satya is really on a mission around economic opportunity for creators and developers. And then we updated a bunch of the way that the Microsoft Store on Windows works. And the 4 I'll just call out, developers can finally bring basically any app store they want to the store. It can be a Win32 app, a PWA, a UWP, whatever framework they want to use, they can bring it to the store. App developers can bring their own commerce into our store. And if they bring their own commerce, where they're doing the commerce through their back end, through their app, then they keep 100% of the revenue and we don't take any of that revenue. Developers can bring their own browser engines to the store. Historically, stores have locked down to the engine that ecosystem wanted, and we've opened that up. And since then, Opera, Yandex, Mozilla, they've all come to the Microsoft Store on Windows. And then finally, and probably most importantly, the third-party storefront apps, can be discoverable from within the Microsoft Store. And of course, we announced that Amazon is bringing their Android App Store to Windows 11. Into Windows 10. We're very excited about that. And Epic, of course, has brought their App Store to ours as well. So you can search, deep link into their stores, go in their stores, et cetera. And I think foreshadowing, publishing principles for the industry, and then us walking the talk with our own implementation to those principles. I do think that's a very powerful blueprint for us to use. We did it with stores. I think it's an important, powerful blueprint for us to use in other places, and maybe we'll see more of that in the years ahead. So hidden gem number 2, I know it's not sexy. People might be like,
I disagree. That was very sexy.
Okay, great. Excellent. Great.
Can we ask you a question about
yes.
the gems?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
what about Google? And
Yeah, so
them coming to the store. Is it like off the table or no?
Oh, no. I mean, obviously, if we say third-party store app fronts can be discoverable through the Microsoft Store, then great. Let's talk to any storefront that wants to come. I happen to notice news like, what was it, 2 days ago, Mary Jo? Recently, this week, I think, they said, hey, we're bringing an app that is going to bring games to Windows, and we were like, oh, okay. And obviously now we're gonna see what that looks like over time. But literally anybody who has that storefront, we want to talk to them about their willingness to bring it. And there'll be multiple levels of what it means to bring a store. With Amazon, we're doing deep work. So, you'll be able to search in our store and find things in their store. And there's, we're doing a lot of work on the flow. So you only have to enter your Amazon credentials once and all that stuff. So I don't think everyone will want to do the same amount of work, but it's not restricted to a particular storefront. And I think it's the only way for, these ecosystems to move forward in a healthy way. And as I said, Satya is just like, economic opportunity for creators on Windows, economic opportunity for developers on Windows. And you've heard him talk a little bit about it. So that was my number 2.
Okay.
Should I go to 3?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I think you might have hurt me a little bit on time, but I think I'm still within it.
That's not your fault. We interrupted.
We'll deduct that. We'll deduct that from the system.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Reset the clock to 2 minutes.
Add 13 seconds and to the clock.
Okay.
Starting now.
Hidden gem number 3 is accessibility with Surface and accessibility with gaming. We dedicated like 15 minutes of our Surface launch to the Surface Adaptive Kit, and we created this with this Inclusive Tech Lab. We did it in partnership with people with disabilities. And as you guys know, there's these sort of keycap labels and bump labels and port indicators and even this sort of device opener that we launched. And I didn't know how big a deal it would be. And our team said, this is going to be a bigger deal than you think. And I said, I'm not sure. It's like $15 of keycap labels. And of course they were right. And my lack of clarity was wrong. And it's become a big thing and an important thing. And more importantly, maybe even than the Surface Adaptive Kit, is this thing we introduced that most people actually have no idea about. We launched this thing called the Xbox Accessibility Testing Service, which is a service we provide to game developers to then partner with members of the disability community as they're building their game so that they can build a game that is more accessible out of the chute. And so for me, hidden gem number 3 is just this sort of accessibility in hardware, accessibility services for developers who want to build more accessible things. And I think that was a pleasant surprise for me. And then very few people have talked about the testing service that I think will be quite helpful for game devs. Yeah. And so I wanted to make that hidden gem number 3.
Yeah, we definitely talked about the Surface and the Adaptive Kit and the Xbox Adaptive Controller.
Yeah, that one was big.
But not the Surface. Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Last one, Mary Jo. This is actually for all of you, but it's a special Mary Jo focused one. Nice. And this is you're gonna people are gonna laugh out loud, but you got to give me a minute. Hidden gem number 3 is Azure Digital Twins. And you're going to say, what are you talking about? I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, I know why. I know exactly why.
Exactly. Of course you do. Of course, which I said it would. And there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, if you don't know what the heck this is a set of services that we provide in our Azure cloud that enables, regular people to create digital models of basically anything physical. It could be a digital model of something simple like a coffee cup, but it could be a digital model of something super complex like an entire energy grid or a warehouse or a factory. And one of the reasons I chose it, in addition to the obvious foreshadowing to the metaverse, is the fact that one of the best customers we have that's using this is Anheuser-Busch InBev. And since you guys always talk about beer, I said I'm going to bring this to the show because what these folks have done is they've literally taken 200 breweries and they've created digital twins for every one of those breweries. And now their digital twins are literally a model of each of these breweries and the supply chain that feeds the brewery. And their twins are synchronized with the physical brewery. So the digital model is always live and up to date with what's happening in the physical brewery itself. And then their brewmasters, who you guys talk about sometimes, can adjust things based on these active conditions that they're seeing in the digital twin. So, I think there's a lot of discussion on the metaverse on the consumer side, which is awesome, and excited to talk about that. But actually, there's a lot of companies who are sort of already creating their own, version of this using Azure Digital Twins. And I thought that was kind of a nice blend of consumer commercial. And so number 4 is the very commercial but beer-oriented Azure Digital Twins.
Nice.
AKA just Microsoft. Like Mary Jo, very commercial but beer-oriented.
Yeah. Exactly.
Are they going to call it Microsoft Brew? Because that would be really a good name. But
no.
Hey, I think the chat room's saying you, in your very first gem, you neglected to mention the name of the story of Xbox, Power On, the story of Xbox.
I thought he did.
Maybe the chat room just missed
it's
it.
It's called Power On, the story of Xbox, exactly.
Want to give that credit. You can find it everywhere, YouTube, Microsoft Movies, everywhere. And it really looks good.
It's free.
I can't wait to see
it.
And it's,
like 3 years we had to find budget for this thing. Like I don't know if you know, corporate America, it's hard to budget over multiple years for something. And oh gosh, I'm just so glad.
Especially during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, there you go. Those are my 3 hidden gems.
Nice.